Good day, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Vise Squad, brought to you by the Anadramas Fly Company, which they've got all sorts of tools and flies and scissors and all sorts of good stuff. Check them out. This week, we're going to tie sort of a nondescript mayfly pattern, if you will. It's this is a dark mahogany colored biot that we're going to use for the body. Sort of a Catskill style, I guess, maybe-ish, loosely based on one. But yeah, I've fished this pattern a lot and I've always done quite well with it. So in the vise, we're going to put, this is a number 12 dry fly hook, barbless, from Togen's Fly Shop. Start out with that. And we're going to use some 12-aught nano silk in black. I'm not going to start it right behind the eye just because I don't want to build it up too bad. So we'll get that started and snip out the tag. And we'll run it right to the bend. Alright, so for the tail, like with all mayfly patterns that I tie, pretty much all of them, I use boar hair. And it's nice because you can see it splits at the end, so it just kind of gives you a nice split tail with only using one material. So we'll tie that in, and we'll make that tail just about a hook length long, give or take. We'll tie that in. All right, so we've tied that in. Now we're gonna wind our thread back down to the bend here. And we're gonna tie in our body material, which is a turkey biot. And like I said, this is mahogany brown. And you'll see on these biots, like with any other feather, they've got a curve to them. And on one side of these biots is sort of a ridge. And what you want to make sure is that ridge is pointing up. So when you fold it over, it stays to the back end of the fly, and then you can get the proper segmentation. You'll see that in a second here. It's sort of one of those things you kind of just got to do it wrong a few times before you figure it out. I did it wrong lots over the years. Okay, so now that's tied in. We want to make a bit of a taper to the body. Need much on, but a little. Just keep it all nice and smooth. Alright, so we'll wind that up to about the 1/3 point, maybe a quarter point. And this is where we'll tie our wing in. And for the wing, we're going to use some mallard flank. It's dyed in wood duck, brown, light tan. And what we'll do with it is, first of all, I always like to get rid of the chaff on the end of the feathers because it just gets everywhere anyway. It gets in your way. So to measure out the wing, how I do it is I pull the tip out and I pull all the fibers back so they're perpendicular to the stem. And what I want to look for, I get those straightened back out again here. If they're all sticking out to the side, at some point or another, these feather fibers are going to start getting smaller. And what I want to do is where they start to get smaller, I'll push them forward and keep just the ones that are the same length together, so you don't get all sorts of different heights of feather in your wings. It makes it look a little cleaner. So I'll do that to both sides, like so. Next, what we'll do is I'm going to take those fibers and I'm going to push them all together. So I'll just squeeze it in half, like so. Then they're all kind of all going the same way. And once we've got that, then we'll just tear them off the side, straight off the side, like we would any other feather. And then that should keep all your tips more or less the same length, or close enough, like so. So to measure the wing, today I was talking with a fellow of mine a friend of mine who's sort of an expert on these Catskill style flies, and he was telling me that my wings are always too big. And every picture I've ever seen with these things, they've got great big wings on them. He says to stop doing that. So today, like on the example fly, they were too long. This one will tie as he recommends. So we're going to go just a little less than the hook length. And we'll tie that in kind of right where we've ended that tail. It's sort of a natural bump there, so that'll work. Okay, so we'll tie that in. And we'll bring it back just a little ways and snip that out. Now what I'm going to do is bring that thread back forward. I'm going to put some wraps in front of that, a damming wrap, just to get them to stand up like that. And then I'm going to split them in two in the middle. And I'm going to do sort of a figure eight just to get them to splay out the side. You don't need much for this. If you go too much, they start to lay down and it sort of ruins the wing. Like so. All right, we'll put our thread back behind there. We'll just build up that little bit of a bump, and we'll leave our thread right behind the wing, more or less. Now what we'll do is grab a hackle plier. We'll grab a hold of that biot by the tip very gently. And you want to fold it over so you get that ridge at the back. And as we go here, you'll see there's a flat spot in front of that. And what we want to do is overwrap on that, and then you can get your segmentation. Go up as far as we can with it. I like to put a couple loose wraps in there first just to kind of hold it. Get my wing in there a little bit. And then once I've got those loose wraps on there, I'll put some more tension on my thread and remove the hackle plier. And then put some good binding wraps in there. Next, reach in with your scissors nice and tight. And careful not to cut your wing off. Can't say as it hasn't happened before. Give her that. And then we can just put some wraps in there to clean it up. It gives us a nice spot to tie our hackle in. Which today is it's a Coachman brown hackle by Whiting. Sort of a dark brown, similar to the Mahogany. Looks really good in the sun. Really glows. So, like always with my hackles, I always trim off with my scissors the last little bit there, just to give you something to hang on to with your thread. We'll put a few thread wraps in there, and then we'll advance our thread up beyond the wing to the eye. And then we start wrapping. Grab those wings and get them in the front. And a few wraps up to the eye. We'll grab it. Few turns and we'll reach in there nice and tight and snip that out. Trying to make sure we get all those extra hackle fibers out of there as well. All right, we grab our whip finish tool and that's it. Put a bit of head cement on that knot, and you got a guaranteed trout catcher I know that I've always done quite well when I put this on. Might be a little darker than a normal mayfly, but the presentation is there. And get rid of our thread, and that's that. All right. Not the most simple fly in the world, but it is definitely a fish catcher. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell beside it, and you won't miss any of the upcoming content, which is always new stuff every week. Thank you to our sponsors, Anadramas. Really appreciate your support. And to you, Rick, thank you very much. Please check out fishingandoutdoors.ca for Canada, .net for the US. You can find all our sponsors' products on there and a whole pile more. There's all sorts of stuff on there. Give it a look. And it doesn't cost you any more. It just helps us out. Everybody wins. And in today's day and age, that's a fantastic thing. Anyways, until next week, thanks so much.